All right, welcome back. It's still the news review segment, and the segment is interactive. We do want to hear from you as we're having the conversation. So you kindly use the WhatsApp number 0204-447-033. Again, it's 0204-447-033. For us to hear what you are thinking. This morning, the conversations are largely around corruption and corruption-related conversations. We've just dealt with the anti-corruption investigations by the Attorney General in his office. Mr. Eduboahene, and that's Kwabena Eduboahene, has been arrested together with his wife over the $7 million diversion. Now, the next topic is also related because it was part of the updates that the Attorney General gave at the presser yesterday. The NSS Payroll fraud. Former NSA CEO paid an MP to kill the ghost name scandal. Now, let me just quickly read a little bit of that. And then we'll progress with that story. So I'll read it from citynewsroom.com. I'll read this angle of it. So, reveal MP who was paid to suppress NSA ghost scandal. This is Suleiman Abrima to the Attorney General. Now, the Executive Director of the Media Foundation for West Africa, Suleiman Abrima, has called on the Attorney General and Minister of Justice, Dr. Dominic Ayine, to publicly disclose the identity of the Member of Parliament who was allegedly paid to suppress media reports on the National Service Authority ghost name scandal. Now, Brimer's demand follows revelations by Dr. Ayine during an update on the ongoing investigations into a fraudulent payroll scheme. The Attorney General revealed that former NSA Director General Osei Esibe Entry had paid a sitting MP to prevent media coverage of the scandal, which involved the illegal inclusion of ghost names on the payroll. He further confirmed that a significant progress had been made in exposing corruption within the scheme. Reacting to a disclosure in a Facebook post, Bremer underscored the need for transparency in the matter, stating, "We call on the Attorney General to name the said MP to whom money was given to kill the story. Doing so will be in the interest of transparency and also protect the reputation of Parliament." Okay, on this one, Larry.
Yes, sir.
So there's the assertion by the Attorney General and Minister of Justice that an MP was paid some money to suppress the story. Then Suleiman Abrima, who is related to the story coming out as well, says, let's reveal the names. What do you make of this? First of all, are you surprised that someone was paid to suppress the story? Now, in the media plurality that we find ourselves, the number of radio stations, media houses, and all of that, I don't know how do you suppress a story like this? How does one person get paid to suppress a story?
Well, I'm not sure. It's done.
People do it.
Yeah, people do it.
But you can't suppress stories, not in the kind of landscape we find ourselves.
So what they do is they dilute it.
Okay.
They dilute the story.
Okay.
They dilute the story. So you will be reporting.
Yeah.
And very often, and to sound like I am boasting, that Herald puts money, illegal money in the pockets of a lot of journalists. All we need to do is to pick up a scandal and start reporting on it. And you see them spreading money. You wake up in the morning and then your colleagues have reported a different side of that story, even calling you names. Okay, you have lied. You have whatever. We are dealing with a story that had to do with a military procurement, right now. And it's a very dirty story.
The one about the Lexus.
Yeah, the Lexus, exactly.
The LX600
that
was brought in addition.
And so you have an MP and the ranking member, what was his name? Reverend Tim Fojo. Yesterday he was on OKFM. And the kind of things the guy said about the Herald. We have been paid by government to do this. We have been paid by that to do that, and so on and so forth. This is not the first time. That is an MP.
Okay.
Who would even cross-check the facts? Because he has the capacity to cross-check some of those things. But he didn't. He wanted documents from me. I told him that, listen, we have mentioned institutions in the publication, so just talk to those institutions.
Yeah.
And then you verify. And that is an independent verification. Now, I could give you documents that exposes my sources within. But he says that it is President Mahama and the NDC or Manibu Ama who are giving us stories to scandalize some particular generals who are living. Okay? Now, that is an MP. And this is an MP who is supposed to also have received some money to pay journalists, not to run a particular story. Listen, journalists in Ghana, they need money. If you flip some of these newspapers, you won't see adverts in them.
Yeah.
Radio, how many adverts do you guys run? TV, how many do you run? In any case, how much is your pay? And so, politicians have cleverly or cleverly crafted some kind of arrangement that, have journalists on their payroll. And so quickly they could pay them and say that, oh, story way, and nukre. But then the nukre will never come out. And if the journalist is so gullible, he would publish the thing without even talking to you. Do you get it?
Yeah.
And so we've had media houses who have labeled themselves, credible, so and so, that and that and that and that and that. But they will take money and go and dilute the story. And then the state suffers. The state suffers. So I'm not surprised at all. But you see, I don't know why you come and say this without mentioning the name. Before you get to this point, you would have, called the gentleman or the unscrupulous, that character, to say that, hey, this is what we discovered. This is what, when we arrested Gifty came to say. When we arrested Osunoba, this is what he said. When we arrested their boss.
No, this one they are quoting, they say SCB is the one who paid the money.
Who paid the money?
Yeah. The executive director himself paid the story.
Yes, okay. Who paid the money?
So if it's the one that's claiming they are saying paid money to the
so
MP.
he should say, caught him and said, oh, he said he gave money to this person. And then, so this thing where MPs have a way of shielding themselves.
Call the MP, call them,
call
and then
him,
when it
let's
comes
say.
to public, say, yeah, this is the MP mentioned, we interrogated him too. And this is it. But you don't tell us you interrogated even the MP. You didn't even mention that.
So mention the person's name. And by this morning, he would have been out there, saying, it's so and so. Then they would have pulled the file and said, hey, gentlemen, this is what happened. Yeah. This money came to your account on so and so date. And if maybe this is where people have, the means of forwarding money, paying you money through their bank account.
Yeah.
I mean, you could say that, listen, you pay this money to Elvis Darko, or you pay this to Larry Dogbe, you pay this to Kweku Davis, or whoever, and so on and so forth. And then, why? What job did they do for you? Do you understand? And it's put in your face. Then we are getting clarity. But, I mean, an MP, and then you throw it out there, and then run. Tomorrow they might not come and say, to mention the name of the MP.
Yeah.
For me, it doesn't sit well. Elvis talked about how, some of the trials have to be, quickened. I agree with him entirely. Very often we pretend, there's a trial going on, and then by the time you notice, it had outrun a certain government. So then midway, then the trial is truncated.
Yeah.
Okay? So you don't get to the bottom of whatever it is. The Chachi Kwesin case, with Chachi Chikata involved, Chachi Chikata says that, something, make sure that this trial goes to a logical conclusion. So we don't need any nolle prosequi, or we don't need any presidential, whatever it is. Let it get to the bottom. Let's get to the bottom of all this trial, so that whatever we found, everybody will be clear in his mind that, listen, nothing untoward happens. We should get to the bottom of some of these things. Deeper, try them. Dedicate a court, even if it's possible. Just do a public. Let's all watch the proceedings. Yes, let's all watch it on TV, so that there's a certain embarrassing effect.
It's a major deterrent.
Yeah, it's a major deterrent.
If your trial will be exposed on TV, it's a major deterrent.
It's a major thing, because we've been trying it in the in the comfort of a courtroom, and we are not getting to the bottom of this corruption matter. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But if we now expose it, the fact that you are in court, or even every day, you are not working, you are not. I think for whatever Dr. Opuni went through,
please
I'm not sure. What's his name? Randy Abbey would want to go through that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's a deterrent in all fronts.
Okay. Thank you.
It's a deterrent in all fronts. So, I mean, we shouldn't just throw this thing out there and say that, oh, listen, an MP. Who is the MP? The MP is a living person. Mention the person. Let's move. And put the person on trial if there's anything criminal involved.
Elvis.
I think Dr. Eni's press conference yesterday, good in a way, but there are certain areas too I don't really agree. I have more questions to ask.
Okay.
And I think that the next time he wants to do a press conference, at least he should try and connect the dots, so that those of us who are listening or read this will get to know why this got here and there. He said a contract was signed with an Israeli company. The Israeli company has a different name. Yet the payment to that company was paid to a different company. Why would the Signal Bureau sign a contract with ICS, which is an Israeli company, but the official payment from the NSB has gone to a DNC communication? What relation do they have for the payment to go there?
DNC is owned by this guy. It's owned by...
No, that was the official... No, what I'm saying is that official contract per the Aegis announcement.
Yes.
NSB signed a contract with ICS of Israel.
True.
If official payment is to be made, the money is to go to ICS of Israel, because the NSB has no contract with BNC Communication. But per what Dr. Aini told us, the payment rather went to BNC Communication, and BNC is rather paying ICS in Israel. No. How will a state agency sign a contract with A and then pay the money to B for B to pay A? If he said the money had been paid to ICS, and the ICS rather paid BNC as a kickback, then that makes sense to me. Because the contract is between ICS and the government of Ghana through NSB.
But you know the bigger picture. Do you know the bigger picture?
What's the bigger picture?
The National Signals Bureau and all that was under a Ministry of National Security. So if for anything at all, it was Kandapa who was supposed to be appending his signatures to some of this contract.
Because he was the minister.
Yes, he was the minister.
And what I'm saying is that per Dr. Aini's presentation, let's say I sign a contract with David. Then when it's time to pay, then I pay Larry Dogbe. What contract do I have Larry Dogbe?
No, but that is going to come during the trial.
If I had paid you, David, who I had a contract with, and then we found out that David had paid Larry, then we can say it's a kickback. But per the presentation, he's saying that the money rather went directly to Larry. And the Larry rather now is paying you. I don't have any contract with Larry. So that place got me confused that how can a state agency sign a contract with ICS of Israel? And payment from official government source rather went to BNC Communication, as BNC now is now remitting money to Israel. I don't understand that place.
Who reviewed the contract in the first place?
I don't know. So that place got me confused. So I think that I don't understand that place. I don't understand it, because if it's a kickback issue, the money should be paid to ICS, which I have the NSB has contract with. Then the ICS will now be remitting money to BNC communication, and then you say there's a kickback. So I don't understand how NSB, which has no contract with BNC communication, pay the money to BNC communication, and the BNC communication now paying ICS. What kind of? I think that the AG need to come back again on that. Secondly,
how about waiting to see the charges?
No, that's what I'm saying. That, you
the
see,
charges and
we
then
don't have, but you have come to give us a press briefing.
Yeah.
Now we want to get the right information from the press briefing. But here's the case, I'm confused because I don't know where that can happen. That I don't have a contract with you and I'm paying you.
Yeah.
The person I have a contract with, I didn't pay the person directly. I pay you and you are now paying the person. I don't know how that can happen. So I think that there's a question there. Second one is that he has sent warning to some banks. I think that it has been it's an unfair thing that the AG has done publicly.
Did he mention the banks?
He mentioned the names of the banks. And I think the AG has been unfair to the banks. See, in the financial sector, confidence is very important.
Yeah.
So you don't come and mention and issue warning as if the banks were in the known of what was happening and facilitated
but
it.
listen, we have issues. There's been issues with. Do you remember PPA? By the time the states realized most of those bank accounts had been empty.
No, because the guy went to the same court to get an order to defreeze the account.
And the states then said they didn't know.
The state said they claimed they didn't know that the guy had gone to court to take another to defreeze the account.
But did the bank prompt them that, listen, somebody had come here with a court order?
The guy has a court order.
No, but then they will say that, listen,
Larry,
I'm coming.
We are in a country with the laws.
I'm coming. Yes, we are in a country with the laws.
Yes.
So I had written to you or your management that, listen, you owe me. And so I have a court order not so that you are not paid.
Yes.
Okay. Then you brought another, and it's announced.
Yes.
And then you went days later and then got another court order.
Yes.
Okay. And then quickly sent it to the same management. The management now pays you. Now, who will lose out? I will lose out.
Yes.
Do you understand?
And that is why the right
But
has.
if your management prompts me that, listen, Larry, we're going to pay Kweku. Because why? Kweku has an order from the court.
That is what I'm trying. What the issue I raised is what I'm trying to talk about.
Why are you behaving as if the banks are, above the law?
No, it's not about the law.
Above the law, or they have operated, transparently. We know how the banks are operating.
But Larry, in this case, the AG has not been able to prove. The AG has not been able to prove that the banks were aware. Excuse me to say that the money is a proceed of fraud, and that they were taking the money.
He hasn't been.
He has not been able to establish anything like that. What you have established in the PPA case is different. That one, there's an order to them already.
Yeah.
The AG is talking about this, and the reason I'm raising this issue is that
which banks did he mention?
I don't want to repeat the name because it will just be re-echoing. But see, what you have to understand is that you are doing an investigation. What is important is to write to these banks. And where I even concerned about why he shouldn't have warned the banks is that the AG himself admitted and said that aside the companies he has mentioned, there are so many multiple companies they believe in the complicated scheme that the monies were wired to. Some of these companies may not even have the name Edubane and the wife as directors, but money might have gone there. If the bank is not aware that this company, because you gave him the name Edubane, that if anybody wants to, then here is the case, maybe the money has been wired to a different company that does not have his name, but maybe he is the same interested person with different directors. If the bank should release that money, will you come and accuse them that they colluded or they did? Because they will not have an idea, because the directors of the bank and the names on the account will not be that of Edubane. When you are telling us that you have realized that there are multiple companies in a scheme that were used to transfer the monies, how will Bank A know that this company actually belongs to the accused person, or the accused person is a beneficiary of the bank, if his name is not there and he's not a shareholder, but probably he's behind and has some shares and will take the money from there? So I think that, we are all trying to get the right things done. The AG is trying to do the right thing. But I think that mentioning the names of the bank and issuing the warning is wrong, in my opinion. Okay. And I think that since he has not been able to establish the banks have done anything wrong, and warning them publicly without letting them know that we are found.
I thought he said they've written to them.
That's what I'm saying. No, what he said is about the name of Dubai. But the other company, he said, the reason I'm saying that, he himself is saying that they have found multiple companies, though may not be registered the name of Dubai, but they believe that they are part of the scheme. Okay? According to the AG. So if that happens to be true, and those companies which may not have Edu Boy's name comes for withdrawal and the bank gives it, will you come and say that the bank disobeyed your order? So I think that the best thing is that identify each of the companies you think have anything to do and go to court, get an order, and write to the banks and say, all these companies, clearly we believe they have something to do, so any transaction, don't do it. But if it is only the name Edu Boy that you are looking for, and the banks, somebody comes to withdraw and there's no name of Edu Boy there, but probably maybe one of the companies in the scheme, and maybe you have not written and listed all the companies to them. If they allow the transaction, will you come out to come and blame them? I think that the AG is doing his work, but I think that he shouldn't do it in a point that other institutions' reputations will be maligned, because, as I said, in the financial sector, information is key. A bank can collapse now because of one statement from somebody. So we should be careful the way we deal with some of these things. The national service issue, as Larry has said, if you said an MP allegedly has been paid to kill the story, first of all, what's the crime in? If an MP has gone to offer a service that I can help you kill the story, you should establish a criminal basis for why the MP should not be able to do that. And two, you should have told us that you have invited the said MP as well. Since the man who made the allegation has been invited.
They said the MP used to work with media house.
Do you understand it? Do you understand it? If you claim that the said MP, they mentioned the name to you, you have interviewed the person has alleged that this person has paid this person, right? But you have not told us that you have invited the MP and interrogated the MP. The MP is a public figure. It's a public official. And therefore, there's no need to hide who the MP is. You should have mentioned the name that this is it, that we invited him, we showed him evidence, we interviewed. This is what he also said. Because right now, you have put the entire parliament, their reputation at stake. Because who is the MP? An MP is a member of all the MPs, they are all corrupt. But I'm not sure that every member of parliament is corrupt. But because you have not been able to mention a name, now there will be suspicions all over the place. Hey, who is this MP? Will it be this man? Will it be that person? So I think that's what I'm saying, that if you want the press conference to sustain the public interest, there should be more clarity on some of these issues. The MP is a public official and should not be protected from any place. And I think that Speaker Gbagbe himself, as the speaker, some of these things, he himself needs to be able to call the AG and say, AG, you are trying to put the entire reputation of parliament at stake. Please, if there's an MP involved, if you interrogate the person, please, if you want to put it public, just mention the name so that it doesn't look like all the MPs in parliament are into this. And the point is, as you have said, media plurality. How will anybody tell you that I'm going to collect money and kill a story? There's no way anybody can tell you can kill a story. All the person can say, maybe I will let the media tell a favorable story about so the situation, try to maybe debunk, reject, or explain what is it, what you think is not right and all that. Maybe the person can, but if you say to kill a story, first of all, the institution that did the NSA, they have their own media house. They have their own online portal. Are you paying them also not to publish on their own portal? And who can have money in Ghana to pay all TV stations, all radio stations, all newspapers? Who has that money in Ghana and all online platforms and say, this story, don't publish it? So I think sometimes they also say this thing just to paint the media in a certain light. You understand it? They say this to paint the media and say, if someone said, oh, me, what is happening to you, I can do PR for you. So if you give me this amount of money, I can do PR for why? Doing PR for somebody, is it a crime?
No.
PR is a job. Somebody can come to you and say, I can do PR for you based on what is happening. If you pay me this amount, I can help you do PR about the situation. Doing PR for somebody and charging the person is not a crime. It's not about killing story. PR is that what they are saying is not favorable to you. Probably I think that after speaking to you, the things you've said, maybe there's something positive things about what you have said. We need to go to the media too, but it's a PR and therefore we have to pay for it. You understand it? So I think that sometimes people just use the word kill story, kill story. We know when a story is to be killed. And we know when people want to do PR. We know when people want to, a favorable story to be told about you. They are not the same. Killing a story.
You know dilution of stories.
But
that's what I'm saying. When they want to tell us.
But a PR effort dilutes the story.
That is not killing a story.
No, it's not.
It's not killing a story. No. That does not prevent another media house from telling what they know. As Larry has said, the fact that someone has gone to say, right, oh, Larry Logbe lied about this, and that has not stopped him from writing what he knows, right? And has not stopped others also picking on the things he has written.
Yeah.
So we don't create the impression that the entire media, once you carry some money to come to this media, you can buy the entire media and go. It's not possible. It can't happen. And people should know that when people come to you and say, give me money, I can help tell a positive story. Maybe the person is offering to do a PR work, not to go and kill the story, but to go and dilute the story or tell a positive side of you in the story, or whatever you have to say that you think is positive. So sometimes we use the word kill because that is very negative. We know somebody will come and say, Charlie, take this money, don't do this story. That is killing a story.
Yeah.
But if somebody comes and say, oh, the person accused.
What do you think happened there? Please,
I'm not going to Econ. Let me just do my
No. What do you think happened? Where a journalist in this country was carrying money in the boot of his car.
That is what I'm saying. That
thousands of dollars.
Larry, let's get it.
To kill the story.
If somebody
started killing from his own
I'm a journalist. I know. We get stories and people call and say, we hear you have this story. We don't want you to publish the story. And name your price, we will pay. We get those calls frequently. That is killing a story. Okay? That is killing a story. Yeah. That is unethical. That is not journalism. That's not supposed to be done. But when somebody comes and says, oh, this man has been accused about it. But the man said this is his side of the story.
Yeah.
So he wants his side of the story. It's PR. Yeah. That is not killing a story.
Okay.
So let's not confuse and bundle everything
under last topic. No, let's do the last topic.
And killing a story.
You have 2 minutes.
I'll give you. See, under the banks and special deposits taking law, that's at 930 of 2016. The banks are supposed to help the state security agencies in matters of this nature. To investigate criminal things. Criminal conduct. If they are receiving some monies that is unusual, terrorist money,
you should report it.
You should flag it.
We've seen some
questionable. Exactly. So it's not unusual really for the banks to step in and say that, oh, indeed, we think that so. And you are not supposed to disclose, but when it happens in such matters, they are supposed to assist the authorities.
No, in fact, they do. In fact, even if you deposit money beyond a certain amount, they are supposed to report to the Financial Intelligence Center that this person has brought this amount of money. It exceeds the approval limit, and therefore the FIC needs to investigate the source of where you got your money. It's part of the banking law. It's their responsibility. It's called KYC, know your customer. So there's a limit of an amount of money you can even deposit. If it goes beyond that, they are supposed to report it to FIC, and they do. What I'm saying about the IND is that the warning is given. I'm saying that it's not necessary because you have not established that they have done anything wrong. But if you say they shouldn't do this, give them a list. Tell me that. Tell me that you have supplied
let's do the last one.
Quick bite on this. GRA probes Bill's microcredit founder over personal income tax. We have a minute each, please.
Well, I don't know the gentleman, but suddenly I started seeing his videos all over the place. An interview he granted. He has a private jet all over the place, and then out of
it doesn't. I don't think he owns the private jet. It's a rented private jet. According to some sources, it's a rented private jet.
No, but then in the interview, he says he owns it.
He owns it. Okay, all right, fair enough.
Do you get it?
Fair enough.
But, I mean, listen, he has never popped up anywhere, in my mind, until recently. And since then all manner of things, are coming up. Maurice Ampao, lawyer, talks about how he knew this gentleman somewhere. Is it around the Choco or Gamashi area there? And that his lifestyle before and the lifestyle now, for him, it's a sharp departure.
Yeah, but he's made a lot more money than he
said that where he's coming from, there's so much poverty in that area, and to throw such a party with all the people who attended, the MC supposedly paid $100,000 out of the blue.
All these are rumors.
Exactly. Then he did what do you call it? An event at the International Conference Center where he was addressing his workers. And I mean,
he raised their salaries by 20%.
Yeah, 20% here
at the program.
Yeah, at the program.
Yeah.
And everybody was clapping.
Yeah.
But you see, for me, we've seen such people before.
Okay.
I hear there's something called branding.
Okay.
Almost at the inception of every government, you see characters like this popping up. Some years ago, when Akufo-Addo came up, then we saw, the NAM1s suddenly signing a deal with GFA.
There was xylophone, there was GFA,
yeah,
there was a whole lot of things that happened around
and then
that time.
Suddenly, then things came crashing. Okay, when his liquid was tested, things happened. People are still crying over, the monies that they pump into that transaction.
Okay, please.
Again, then President Mahama, we saw RLG. RLG also, what came out of it? Hope City here, so and so there. And then now also, in the case of Namwa, he also had a private jet. You get it. Friends tell me that acquiring a private jet is one of the easiest things to buy.
I see.
But, the
maintenance
is an issue. Where to landing fees is also an issue.
Yeah.
Even the hangar where you put it, it's also an issue.
Okay.
So even you can buy a private jet and be flying around.
You can easily
yes,
buy
you can.
But keeping and maintaining it.
Exactly.
Do you know how much you pay a pilot in a month?
Exactly, maintaining a pilot. So some of the pilot, they rent them.
Yes.
Okay. So they live somewhere else, and then anytime you have to
rent a pilot.
Yeah, so you can.
All the private jets, the pilots are around.
But the GRA, this is something they should have been doing long ago.
Okay.
Okay.
Right. Yeah.
Questioning, some of these things, and so on, so that we can know that, hey, indeed, this guy's money is genuine money. He's doing the right thing.
So they shouldn't have waited for the party.
Well,
because there were other things that have happened before.
Exactly. And then since then, I've gotten, if you could spare me some minutes,
we've run out of time.
I've gotten names of some of the companies that have been linked to him.
Yeah.
So there's Pizza Man Chicken Man.
Yeah.
Then there's Ridge Medical Center. Doe Foods.
Yeah.
Collie Network.
Yeah.
Sankofa Natural Spices. Benji, Duke Rice. Zakonat. Burger King.
He's an angel investor.
Angel, what does that mean?
So it be
like Angel Gabriel,
a big man, he get plenty money.
No. Angel investors, they are able to access funds to invest in like startups that they think that have prospects. So if you have a business, you think that is
so at the last count, there's about 1, 2. I mean, you could see you've seen them. And
gentlemen, we have to go.
Oh, but you don't really make me to speak. I won't allow me to talk.
No.
What are you talking about?
Cecilia Dapa.
Thank you very much.
No, you can't do that.
No, we gotta go.
I have to get 1 minute. I want to talk about
No.
The angel investor started with a company called Quick Credit, and all of a sudden we've seen plenty of names. Quick Credit was rebranded to Bill's Microfinance last year, and then all of a sudden there's a big party.
Yeah.
Me, what I will say is, see, this. If all these companies they claim that is part of it, GRA should have all the audited accounts of these companies, and know financially how these companies are performing.
Yeah.
When a company rebrands, it could be positive, it could be negative. You need to look at the details. What are the financials? What is behind the rebranding?
Yeah.
We have seen companies that are collapsing, and they felt that they think that rebranding will then give them a different image.
Yeah.
So for me, it's his money. For now, it is his money.
All right.
How he uses it is his business.
Yeah.
But I think that when we get to know the audited accounts of wherever he is investing, then we can know the profit margins.
So
and be able
not just
to
his personal income tax,
no.
Full
It's all, because
okay.
If the companies that he's investing are doing well, then he can afford that.
Yeah.
But if we do an audit and whether all the companies he's investing really are not being profitable, then the question of where the source of the money that is being spent around for the rebranding will come up.
Right.
So I think that we need to
Elvis.
look a little more deeper into where the money is coming from. It's good to rebrand. It's good to spend your money.
Yeah. Okay.
You die.
You,
so if you have money, you must enjoy it.
We gotta go.
We
gotta
love
go.
money.
We gotta go.
But we want to know.
All right. So thank you to Elvis Darko. He's the editor for the News Center newspaper, and to Larry Alex Dogbe, who is the managing editor of the Herald newspaper. Thank you very much for coming. Yes, it's been a good conversation. We'll be right back after this break. There's more on Breakfast Daily.